Hello, good morning. I just woke up, studied the headache syndromes, and I thought this could be a wonderful case for this output-based learning video to make quickly for my own learning and everyone else who is interested. There are at least 3 ways I figured out that could simplify our approach to diagnosis of headache, just for the purpose of boards and for now. The first one, of course, is timing, then nature of pain, and then associated symptoms. For the case findings in the timing area, I want to formulate a case for you. You have a patient who has excruciating periorbital pain that lasts less than 30 minutes, and the patient has had several similar episodes in the past. What is your diagnosis? Even though it is kind of tempting to immediately pick the cluster headache as diagnosis, be very careful about that. As you noticed, the case vignette didn't provide even the gender. It's just said a patient, several episodes, periorbital, and lasts less than 30 minutes. Always remember, periorbital pain that's excruciating or debilitating and lasts less than 30 minutes could be cluster headache, but could also be trigeminal neuralgia. The most important factor to figure it out is the timing. If it is less than 30 minutes, but also less than 1 minute every time, that's trigeminal neuralgia. Both of them are excruciating pain, periorbital, blah blah blah. Always remember also, cluster headache is the only type of headache that is more common in men, 7 times more common. Then we have the timing criteria in general for our 3 headache syndromes. If by definition it is, let me double check to make sure the numbers are right, 15 to 90 minutes, the shortest duration, that is cluster headache. Some resources say 15 to 180 minutes. So as you see, cluster headache can never be less than 15 minutes, but trigeminal neuralgia can be. Then if it is 30 minutes to days, that's tension headache. And then if it is the golden numbers, 4 to 72, always remember that, hours, 4 to 72 hours, that's the definition of migraine headache duration. So if, for example, you have a headache syndrome that lasts for days, that could be either tension or migraine. However, migraine can never last longer than 3 days, while tension headache could last up to 7 days. So I have the rule of T7M3 here. Migraine 3, tension 7. Okay, moving on to the nature of the pain. Probably the simplest way to categorize our headache syndromes is based on localization, whether or not it is unilateral, bilateral, and whether or not it's pulsating or non-pulsating. You know, unilateral includes migraine and cluster. If it's pulsating, of course migraine. If it's non-pulsating, cluster. Bilateral is a bit tricky. Remember, even though you know that tension headache is the bilateral headache, always remember that migraine headache could become secondarily bilateral. It begins from one area and then diffuses to the entire head. So if it is from the beginning bilateral, yes, that's tension. But if it is bilateral after a period of initial unilateral headache, that could most possibly be tension headache, be migraine headache, especially if the person says it was initially unilateral and pulsating. And then finally, we have associated symptoms. Always remember, autonomic symptoms is the very important association of the cluster headache, the same way that male gender is another important association. Autonomic symptoms of the cluster headache include everything related to eye again, for example, pupillary changes or lacrimation, but also facial flushing, sweating, rhinorrhea or nasal congestion, or full-blown Horner syndrome could be seen in cluster headache. Then you have the family history. The only type of headache syndrome that's associated with a positive family history is migraine headache. Finally, we have certain words that could just help us as a gate to diagnosis. Aura, of course, you know, the most famous one is for the migraine. Recurrence, as you know, is the specific finding for the cluster headache, or the same headache could be identified as a headache that happens in sleep. Band-like headache, like a band around the head, of course, is tension headache, which brings us to the word tension. Tension could either mean social stressors or tension, or it means muscle tension in physiology, yeah? So remember, a headache that's been defined to be associated with muscle pain, especially in head and neck and shoulder area, could be tension headache. Be careful not to miss it with the fibromyalgia. And that is my quick output based learning video for headache syndromes. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.